Okay, well, hello everyone. This is Gifty from Baller Mom, and welcome to the Support Chair and Unite podcast and interview. Starting off in March, I'm going to be focusing on a lot of women within our sports industry who are doing great things in supporting our kids, as well as parents, in making sure that everything that we do help them along their journey. So with that being said, my first guest this week or this month, this year, is Mrs. Andrea Lewin, who will be sharing exactly what it is that she's doing, something that we all talk about with all of our kids when we're in the car ride, our home, everything related with, their mindset. And she's been able to put something together that is tangible, even though mindset's in the mind, tangible in helping our athletes day to day interactions, movements from game after game, and everything related to that. So without any further ado, Miss Andrea, introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Andrea Lewin, and I am co-founder, along with my husband, of Lewin Elite. We reside north of Toronto, but we work with athletes within the GTA.
Okay. And what is Lewin Elite?
Good question. So, Lewin Elite is an organization that provides mindset and performance training for youth athletes.
Okay.
Um, to talk about Lewin Elite, I have to talk about our own experience. So our daughters were elite athletes, gymnastics and national cheerleader. And we have a daughter that got a D1 scholarship to the States. And so really, this is how this organization came about, was to support athletes, especially girls, in sport, to help them stay in the sport longer.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you mentioned two girls. Are they still actively playing or they're...
No, they're grown now and they have their own children. And as a
Okay.
matter of fact, they're starting out in sports, the younger ones. For us, this is, our way to give back to the next generation. So we're able to see, our working in our nieces and nephews and our grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what we want, because we didn't have this type of thing growing up. And so we want to be able to give back to the community, first and foremost.
Okay. So
Yeah.
with that triggered you to, now that the kids are older, you say that they're also back in the sports and giving back. What was some of the hardest part for you when you're in that time with them? And that helped you to say, that now that my kids are kind of okay, I want to go back and actually help those parents who are
Yeah.
going through exactly what I went through when I was at that particular time.
Yeah. That's such a good question. Honestly, it's really weird because I'm only just making the connection now to this mindset piece. I
Okay.
remember my daughter, the younger one, was an elite gymnast, like I mentioned. And when I think back and I think about her standing on, in the competition, she's at the mat and she's waiting for her music to start. Her chest would just be like, you could see her chest like just moving back and forth to the point where the coach would walk over to her and put her hand on her chest to calm her down. And it's only now that I made the connection that she was competing anxious. And
Mhm.
I didn't know that. And a lot of athletes, Gifty, they compete so anxious, so scattered, so dysregulated, and it breaks my heart because that is something that is missing in sport. And I may not have made the connection then with my daughter, but I'm making the connection now because I see it so much more, right? You see it, right? In basketball when kids are like shutting down or they're getting, aggressive. That's dysregulation. That's a mindset thing that can be taught. And that's what Lewin Elite is here for. Our motto is that we're building leaders on and off the court. Like what happens with these athletes when they leave the sport, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so
It's important because their identity has been for that for so long
long.
that when they're out of it, the transition into what we call real world tax paying
Mm,
is a bit of a, it's adjustment.
it's a huge
Um,
adjustment.
that's
Yeah.
it. So with that, is the focus more for Lewin Elite, more for the athletes, or do you also have provide support for parents? Because like you said, you didn't notice that her chest bumping at the time. You just thought, okay, maybe it's just regular nerves because we
Yes.
all get nerves.
Yeah, yeah.
But for as parents now, okay, if we're seeing that we know our kids best, we can tell when they're, good, bad, BSing us or anything like that. You have information and resources for us as well too, as part of your program that we can also use to be aware of things, maybe check ourselves so that we're not projecting it onto the kids as well too.
Yeah, like, you hit the nail right on the head, awareness.
Hmm.
As a parent of an athlete, I wasn't aware that back then, nobody talked to us about mindset. They talked to us about nutrition, a little bit of nutrition, but nobody at they did not talk to us about mindset. And so you're absolutely right. I have programs for coaches because again, coaches, they're the way that coaches their demeanor also impacts athletes. And
Yes.
then for and then for parents, we're well-meaning. Oftentimes we don't have the vocabulary, but we
Hmm.
don't realize that the way that we speak to our athletes directly impacts their confidence, what they think about themselves and who they are as athletes. So absolutely, I have resources for parents as well. And I'm so encouraged that when I do the mindset presence, and maybe we'll talk about this after, that a lot of parents approach and they'll say to me when, they look at the resources, they'll say, "Oh, that's my kid. Yeah. My daughter is nervous, or my daughter shuts down, or my daughter doesn't, do this." So the parents are recognizing it. And I'm so encouraged that they're coming over and they're asking questions and they're walking away with a little bit more information than what they came to the tournaments with. And that's why it's so critically important that we have that presence at the tournaments because we're seeing like so much interest from it.
I love it. I love it that you're in person and
Yes.
making it that physical connection. So they put a face to it and you're giving them also tangible things to take with them. So walk us through what happens when somebody reaches out to you and say, Lewin Elite, I've seen this interview. I've heard you. I've seen you in person. Maybe I couldn't come and talk to you then for whatever reason. I need your support and I need your resources either for myself as a parent or for my child. What is that process like?
Yeah. So I can speak to the parents typically engage at the mindset presence,
Hmm.
but the teams reach out after. And so for the teams, what I do is I send them a questionnaire. And what
Okay.
we're really trying to get at is what are the problems that they're seeing, right? What are the things that they want to address that's happening with a specific athlete or with the team in general? Is it, conflicts between the team? Are you seeing performance issues, behavioral issues? What are you seeing that you want to address? Because mindset training is not mental health training. And I think it's important to understand the difference. And so, again, when we reach out, we just get some information and then I speak to the team about what is it that they want to see. Our sessions are 45 minutes to an hour. That's for the athlete. That's, I think, about as much as they can absorb.
Yes.
It is interactive. They are not sitting. They are standing through the whole thing because it's interactive. It's scenario based. We give them scenarios to help them uh, replicate the storm.
Okay.
And one of the things that I tell coaches is don't just practice the skill in the storm. So what I mean by that is
I like that.
if you're practicing a shooting drill, get the, teammates around them to distract them. Pretend like you're the crowd. Practice the storm, the things that are
We
going.
back in a long time ago, I actually recommended to one coach. I'm like, when you guys are practicing when parents were allowed in,
Yeah.
I'm like, do you mind if I just sit and just be like, you suck, defense, just that noise that naturally
Yes.
come in the game, have music going on. So I'm getting what you mean now because practice is, the routinary, you do that and then you get into the actual game to execute and it's a different environment. So that definitely could be a
Completely
different trigger. Okay.
It's a completely different environment. I saw on Instagram the other day that a coach was saying, I keep telling you guys to do this and you're not doing it in the game. And my question was, well, what does it look like in practice?
Uh-huh.
Are you just practicing the skill or are you practicing the pressure that they're going to experience in the game? The storm. That's what I would be curious to know. So
I
yeah.
like that. That's
Yeah.
that's 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 key. That's key. So and I
Mhm.
guess and I'm glad your touch point on not just because it's a collective. We all want eventually the players, the athletes to perform to their best ability with the
Mm,
correct emotion and mindset. But you touching base on where the support system is coming through, whether it be coaches or parents, is also important for us to acknowledge. And that's why I'm hoping more clubs and coaches reach it out to you and absorb your resources. You said 45 minutes to an hour is not that much. That's a short ride from home to practice. Like they're done. You can watch YouTube videos longer than that. They can do it. And you hit a point where you say that it's interactive, where you're moving and standing. Why did you go that route as opposed to a sit down or written or anything of that format?
yeah. So my background is curriculum design.
Okay.
And so I use like a lot of those adult learning principles within my training now,
Hmm.
and especially for youth. So if as an adult, adults can't sit that long, imagine youth. And so I just bring a lot of that experience into building the curriculum, making it fun, making it interactive. Athletes don't want us to sit and lecture to them.
Yes.
They want to be a part of that process. They want us to ask them questions and engage and help them um, to come up with their own
Hmm.
resources and responses. Like they don't want us telling them what to do. They want to be a part of that conversation. And that's what our training does is to help them be a part of it, to help it, to make it fun, um, to make it interactive, right? There's a saying that, when you do, so when you have information, you tend to remember things. I think it's like 20%. But
Yeah.
when you're active or when it's interactive, then that memory is like 80%. So that's why I always go towards interactive.
Physical. And
Yeah.
is this done at the team's practices or they come to a facility? Like, how is this being done if a coach is saying, I have a U12, we're preparing for the summer, we're going to be traveling, this is their first time crossing the border, whatever it is, there's anxious and things. I want to reach out to you. How does that physical connection happen so they know what to expect and also let the parents know?
Yeah, and that's so important. So to go back to your first question, it does happen at the facility.
Okay.
So we use the gym space uh,
Okay. So you
to
go to them.
we go to them.
Okay.
And that's why we're primarily in the GTA. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but we are
Yeah.
willing to go to wherever the training is, but maybe what we do is make it a bigger group or make it a weekend. So, that travel is a little bit more,
Lenient. Yes. We
yeah,
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right? And so yeah, again, it's reaching out by our website or Instagram. We connect by sending a form that the coach fills out just to give us a little bit more details about what are they seeing. Our form is also has intake for parents and for coaches. So when they go to that form, it's like one form, but they can specify if it's for coaches, for parents, or for the athletes, how old they are, because that makes a difference as well. Our training is geared towards a specific age.
Okay.
So, right. So if it's like a 7 to 9 age group, then we have to modify the activities so that we're meeting them where they are, right? That's what we do. We try to meet all the athletes, all of our audience where they are, so that they can get the most out of that training. So yeah.
Okay. So currently your target market is mainly, I take it's high school student athletes.
We say elite athletes, but again, it's right now it's grade 9 to 11
Okay.
is what we
Okay.
are targeting.
Okay.
But if a team had a group that they wanted us to work with, we'll work with any group because again, mindset training, the benefits are so immeasurable. Like you So you can't measure it. So we'll work with anyone who reaches out.
And with regards to the coaches or the teams reaching out to you, is this a one-time settings, or do you have a 3 sessions or 2 week session or monthly follow-ups? How does that work from the business dynamic aspect of it? Because they may, I mean, year to year or season to season, players dynamic changes. So what may work for one season with one team, they may say, okay, I want you to come back again, or
Yeah.
it's consistent and say, hey, by you joining, we do this on a monthly or yearly basis. So welcome to this
Yeah.
club.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm so excited to be talking about this, but so we do our initial consultation to figure out what it is that the team needs, but also we set up. So for example, if they wanted to do something in the summertime, perfect
Mhm.
timing to kind of, we talk about prepping your mind like you prep your game, right? So if you're prepping for the next season, we do it in the summertime. So we set goals, right? And each athlete gets goals that they can work on. So one of the things that we also do is mindset observations. So I have a form that I fill out for an athlete. I'll watch them play or, look at film. And
Okay.
then we give them a form to say, here's where your strengths are. And here's where, we feel like you need to work a little bit more on. So that breakdown is leadership, communication, effort. So we go through this whole form and we fill it out, and we give it to the athlete, and they can take that away and they can work on that just like they would work on their skills, right?
Yes.
Coach may say, hey, when you're at home, you need to practice your dribbling or your shooting. It's the same thing. We give them this form, they take it away, the whole team gets it. And then when they start the season, we meet with them again. What's working? What's not working? And then at the end of the season, we give them a summary. This is what measurable summary. This is where you were,
Mhm.
and this is where you ended up. What
Wow.
did that look like for the
So
team?
using metrics and data to
Right?
support it for the growth and
Yeah,
reset. I appreciate that
yeah,
because it is sometimes, I know when you're thinking about mine, it's like, how do I capture that? I don't want to go under a microscope and get that scanning, but based on what you're doing, it's allowing them to see progress on a, whether it be season by season or game by game, and they have something to refer to so they themselves can see where they're going. Now, is this information privy to only just the players and their parents, or are you sharing with the player, parents, and coaches?
I think that depends on, because part of the observation as well, we can talk to coaches. So what we do is I do an observation. The athlete gets to, they get a form that they fill out,
Okay.
based on what they believe their mindset is, and then the coaches. So it depends, because we also do that for players who want to provide a mindset profile for colleges, right?
Okay.
Because we know that colleges are looking for,
Different.
right? It's so different. So there are different tiers,
Okay.
that we work with. If it's a college, then we give them a full written report, like a summary, and we give them, strategies to work on the things that we've identified, right? Like I've said to an athlete, great, effort, great leadership, but communication, like all of those things go hand in hand. They didn't even know, like they genuinely don't know, right? Until they see it on paper. One of the most amazing things too is, are these skills are life skills,
Yes.
communication.
Yes.
So the one of the things that I say is, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So if you're on the court and you're not communicating, chances are in the classroom, you're probably very reserved, you're right. And so when we give athletes that awareness, that's huge awareness. Once they know, you'll see things change. You'll see a transformation in them.
And I think the fact that you are physically there observing, because often, me as a parent, you're watching it from a parent's perspective, right? And you're like, oh, what's going on? What are you doing? But having that neutral, professional, different view, analyzing and looking, not to judge, but to provide support for
Absolutely.
growth
Yes.
from the cliffs of your mind into your physical, push of the game, I think is important. And that's something that I don't realize that we don't really have in the basketball world, really, because we do film study, but we're looking at the physicality movements and the skill sets, which is what coaches are really good at. But the fact that you're also providing the mindset in terms of how the decisions are making, the look, their nature, all of that
Yeah.
pauses and little nuances and giving that feedback to guide them for next game, next season, next step. It's valuable. So all the coaches, parents, I think this you need to take a pause and not just only be a verbal encouraging, but also mental and mindset, emotional support for our kids so that we have something tangible to support them. Like you said, it leads into real life. When the ball stops, when you're in a workplace, whether you be in your own business or working with somebody, all these life skill set
Yeah.
provides that in there. So you can
Yeah.
voice your opinion and not feel that your heart is pumping because you're going to be judged. And these feedback you're providing, I take it, is something that's supporting them along the way. I like that.
Yeah,
Now,
that's
yeah, go ahead.
exactly it. No, that's exactly the life skills, the communication, leadership, relationship building, right? Like when
Hmm.
you're with the team, when you leave sport, you're going to be working with people that you may not like. So what does
Yes.
that look like, right?
Yeah.
And mindset is really about, how an athlete responds to pressure. What are the things that they do, right?
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yep. I like that. Okay. So now we've talked about, where they find you in terms of you're going physically there. Once the connection is made, you can go to the particular team's gym practices and you set whatever package that they're okay with in setting up to help their athlete. From your perspective, why should all these, as parents or even the sports community be so mindful when it comes to our mindset with our athletes? Like, what have you seen in maybe your studies or experiences that says, even if you don't book me, these are some things I want you to be aware of because of these factors and how it's going to help your child, not just an athlete, but as a human?
Honestly, I like when I think about even my experience with my daughter that I shared of how she was competing anxious. Um, we want to help our athletes to build resiliency, right?
Hmm.
Again, if they're not even athletes, but in life, that resiliency is going to help them when they are faced with a storm or they're faced with pressure or they're faced with friendship issues or right the resiliency is going to help them bounce back. It's going to help them you know, with mindset, goal setting and how to, to move forward with school, with work, with life, right?
Hmm.
It's I think for parents too, it really helps them recognize the signs too, right? Because we are in such a bubble and we've convinced ourselves, especially from the Caribbean community.
Yes, and African too. Don't worry, we're all the same. Yeah,
No, suck it up.
yeah,
Up. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Especially
We're
to the
not
males. Yeah.
especially to the males, right? And the girls and the issues that they have with body image. And as parents, we are well-meaning. We really are. I mean, I felt like I was doing what I thought I knew how to
We're
do.
trying.
We're trying,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we are called to do more than just try,
Yes, agree.
right? We
Agree.
are called to do more than just that. We are called to step out from our upbringing,
Mm-hmm. And
where
it's,
the Caribbean background is toughen it up. You don't cry, you don't smile, you don't, do you know what I mean? Like we are called to do better, you know? So yeah, like that's kind of,
no, and it's, I think it's a good point
yeah,
to make because it's true.
yeah,
We know it. And sometimes some of us do catch ourselves
yeah,
and
yeah.
sometimes it's too late.
Not that it's ever too late. I just feel like um, there's always an opportunity to grow. There's always an opportunity for awareness. I don't know that it would ever be too late. I think once you recognize or once somebody's going to watch this video and go, oh, that's me. Um, and it will not have been too late because you now have, the awareness and the information to do better, right?
Yeah.
Not as a judgment,
No,
to
no,
support
no.
your athlete in a way
Exactly.
that's going to help them grow. Yeah,
And not build any resentments or anything like that.
exactly.
Where they can retract it and feel like they're doing it for you when in fact it's not really should be for us. It's something that they want to do, and we're genuinely supporting
Yeah,
them on
yeah.
that point. Now, for the whole process within your mindset program, another aspect I believe you talk about is also the nutrition part, because I know we need to
Mm.
fuel our body, but also the mind is great as part of it too. So, and I think the first time I met you, you gave, this pack, like a paper that you can read through, which is a self positive, encouraging things for it. We're in the digital world. So when I saw physical, I was very happy. I'm old school.
Yeah, yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
oh, this is nice. It's easy to carry. They can
yeah,
put it in their bag and in their wherever it is and easily look at it in the locker room before they come out as something to encourage them. Um, what are some things, maybe, not everybody has seen you at the different games or anything like that, and they haven't connected with you yet. But what are some things that, these players or parents can use for a physical aspect to hold on to, as something to guide them, to ease those nerves, to get that mind ready to lock in, as we call it, but lock it in a positive way and say, still reflective back and say, yes, I am good. I'm fine. I'm going to be okay. Those self affirmations, like what are some other ways that you will recommend that we do to help them out, by reaching out to you or prior to reaching out to you to help them, um,
yeah.
seize that day.
I'm gonna jump on this one
Yes,
because you
definitely.
said, "What can we do to help?" And I think parents are well-meaning, but we don't allow our athletes to fail.
That
We
is
don't
going to
allow
be
them
a
to
caption, because that
fail.
is so
We
true.
don't allow them to
Allow them to
fail,
fail.
and
Yeah.
we're taking away their ability to build that resilience. So, when you say parents, we want to fix everything.
Mhm.
I was a parent of an athlete. I wanted to fix everything. I wanted to prepare them. I wanted to take out her gymnastics suit and pack her lunch and, put her stuff by the door and tell
Yeah.
her where to be. And, we're well meaning because maybe that's what we grew up with as,
Mhm. Mhm.
athletes.
Yep.
But I think again, athletes have to want to get those resources, right? Athletes, they know what they're experiencing. They do. And so once, you say to them, okay, this resource is available, let them go and seek out that resource. And parents will say to me, like, I have a journal that I wrote for athletes, and it helps them to reflect, write, write on game day. And one parent said to me, oh, but will they use it? How do you know that they'll use it? You don't.
Don't.
You
Till it's
don't.
there.
It's not your
Yeah.
response. Like that's their responsibility. If
Mhm.
they want to get better as an athlete, if they want to grow, they're going to pick up that journal. They are going to reflect on, what my mindset was before the game. What are some things I can work on next? How can I grow stronger? Because if they're doing that reflection, they're doing that reflection for school,
Yep.
right? They're
Yep.
doing that reflection for
Life.
life,
Yeah.
right? It's not just sport. Sports is the vehicle, right? What they take away from it is parents will say, "I'm paying this money and I want to see it ever." But what we're doing,
Yes, I know.
I know, but what we're doing is so much more than money.
It
It's
is.
who we're growing,
It's bigger than the financial
so
part
much
of
bigger
it.
than the financial.
Exactly.
So if I can answer your question, it's really, the cards that we have, the resources that we have are as a direct request from parents. So one parent said to me, I don't know what they should be eating. I can't tell you how many times I go in the gym and I see kids eating Timbits before they practice. And I'm like, blood sugar spike, energy. And then the coach will say, what's wrong with you?
They're dropping
Yeah,
down.
there's
Yep.
no energy, right? What's wrong with you? Where's your energy? They were just drinking a coffee or
Bigger.
again, no blame. I think a lot of parents, I didn't know,
Yeah.
right?
I'm learning. I'm still learning.
I was learning at that point,
I'm
right?
still learning. Yeah. Yeah.
A direct, question is, oh, my son goes into a spiral, he's just negative and he tells himself that he's not good. So I got the self-talk reframe. Catch it, or sorry, catch it, change it, wait, catch it, challenge it, change it.
Should
So catch the thought.
change it. Yeah.
Challenge the thought. Is this 100% true?
Mhm.
Change it. What can I change it to that's more helpful
Mhm.
than the negative spiral? So all of the cards that you saw, or some of the cards that you saw, were as a direct request from parents or coaches or athletes that have said to me, I'm dealing with this. How do I deal with that? And all those
You're
cards,
listening and you're delivering.
we're trying to meet kids and athletes and parents where they are, right? All
Hmm.
those cards are also a part of the game day journal. So everything that's you saw, those cards are in the game day journal along with goal setting, along with triggers and tells. What are the things that trigger me, and how can I tell that I've been triggered? My body language, my shoulder, my jaw is tight, my fist is tight. Right. Where did that trigger come from? And I wrote another book called The Ride Home, because a
Yes.
lot of the times, again, we talk about why
Interesting. That's
parents,
like a
right?
whole chapter.
That's a whole,
That's a series, I should
and
say.
when we talk to our
Yeah.
daughters about the ride home, they snicker because it was a thing. And
Yes.
it's still a thing for so many athletes.
Yes. Yes. And honestly, from a parent perspective, it's a thing because while they're there doing their sport, I mean, with the exception of some that really wish they can jump in and do it for them and over talking the coaches, majority parents were out there as the fans observing. So when we are in that car with them, we feel like, okay, we have our child back. This is our opportunity to now parent them and correct them or whatever. But as I said, I'm learning over the years, been doing this, we've realized that we don't start a conversation until they're ready to start. It's them.
That's
Because
it.
they do need that moment to decompress.
That's it.
So it's more
That's it.
like, are we, it's, you can tell based on their body structure if they want to continue or they want to talk about it or later. Sometimes we not even talk about the game, and that's okay. As much as it's
That's okay.
irking me,
Right.
we leave it. It's like, okay, you don't want to talk about it. That's fine. Just know that when you are, we're here. So that it is a big learning curve from parents' perspective. So I applaud you that you keep encouraging that because the repetition, again, it took me a while to realize that too. Those who are still coming into the sports, it would take a while too. It's a long journey, but I'm definitely happy that you continue to bring that as part of your program in letting parents know, the pros and the cons, the times and the when to do it, and allow us to check ourselves. Because
Yeah.
honestly, when you have a bad day, do you really want somebody on your shoulder telling you? Like you want them to just be like, chill. Leave me alone.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my way of approaching it. Like, okay, I'm not gonna be on your in your ear because literally it doesn't even go in one ear, let alone the other. It sort of bounces back.
They're already overstimulated.
Yeah.
Whatever the outcome was, right, of the
Mm.
game.
Yeah.
They're already overstimulated. They're already, in their head about what they could have done better. And then the person that's supposed to be the safe place to land is now berating. I don't want to say berating because, again,
We're
we're around
critiquing, we're giving back feedback and
critiquing.
analysis,
Right.
everything.
Right. And I would just say to parents, the first thing, and I write about that in the ride home, is that encouragement. Great day to, great game, or right. Do you want to talk about this now, or do you want to wait? Give athletes the choice, right? Because I guarantee you, we can't beat them up any more than they're beating up themselves,
Yep.
right?
100%.
And then there goes the confidence. And then, right? And once the confidence is tanking, are they going to come back and play? Are they going to lose love for the game or the sport? Like, right? So we really,
Right.
like you said, we have to kind of check ourselves, not in a negative way, but I think oftentimes, and we talk about this as a community, we really have to really reflect on what our goal is for
This.
our athlete,
Yep.
our child first.
Yep. A child
Right?
first.
Is it our own, living through our children, or is it about them? And yeah, I don't want to throw things
Oh, there's so many.
apart.
There's
Yeah,
so
right.
many. Yes.
But
And for
yeah,
me, the benefit is I never played that particular sport. So I am 100% okay saying I don't. But I get those who did. It is hard to differentiate it because you did it and now your child is doing it and trying to connect. I think they also should come to you and get that mindset support because they need to find
Yes.
a way to understand that that was their path and their journey that led them here, and they can help their child to their journey and there while giving lessons from what they learned, but it can be enforced into the current state. So it's like trying to tell the kids, pagers and rotary phones, like it's not their time zone, their timeline. They won't get it. They can see the picture, but until they actually live that era, they won't get it. But I think those parents who've had those experiences need to also reach out to you because what you're sharing and what you guys are doing is resourceful and helpful for the whole community as one, and not just only the athlete, but the parents understanding will help us along the way. When we're in that car, are we listening to music? Are we listening to traffic? Or are we just talking? Like, what is it?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
when we open that door as parents and we give athletes permission to talk to us, to
Mm-hmm.
be honest with us, man, oh man, does
They
that you're
do.
building a relationship, which is so much bigger than the
Yeah.
sport, right?
Now, question too, though, because I know like your focus is more like you said, grade, high school, and post secondary, like elite ones. Majority of this often, by the time they get there, like I said, I learn along the way. How do you find a way to get to the early stages, the parents who are literally in that younger age group? Where that is like the norm of it, to kind of say, hey, you're doing this now, and I can project based on my stats that if you continue, these are some of the trajectory that it can go through. So what would you tell? Because I do have a lot of parents whose kids are in the younger age group, and we want to get them to understand it so that it doesn't become too late when the kids get to the higher level. So whether some tips that you would tell them or how they can reach out to you to help them and have you as a long-term support through their child's journey.
Yeah, the same thing. That's actually Gifty, the age that we want.
Mhm.
My husband and I run a grassroots basketball program in the town that we are in. We do that now. And our kids are, we do 6 to 9, 11 to 15, and then we do like, adult basketball. But the 6 to 9 age group, the emotional outbursts and the crying and right? And so even though, it's kind of not part of our work, we introduce even and it's done through the community center. We introduce mindset,
Mm,
at before every game. What are the things that we're going to focus on today? My attitude, my mindset, my effort. And they understand, even at that level, what that means. What are the things that I can control? And we
mhm.
make it fun. And can I control the rain? No, right?
Wish.
Right? Because when they go back to school, even, in the classrooms, these are things that they have to deal with as well. We've had teachers asking us, are you doing work with schools? So it's people are seeing the value of this mindset, um, training or workshops. They're really seeing the value of it. But yeah, you're right. The younger age group, like when we see the AAU circuit and we see the younger kids, those kids are just as emotional as
Yes.
the older kids.
Yes.
You know,
If not,
even
sometimes more. Yeah.
sometimes more because they're
Mm,
maybe not developed that regulation, right? So
mm.
absolutely, if we start those kids, I would love to work with a team over a few years and
Yeah.
just see, what are some of the, the
Progression.
growth and the progression that they have.
Yeah.
Mind you, I just have to be, to say this as kind of like a caution is that there are some things that are absolutely outside of, what we can do as an organization. And oftentimes an athlete may need additional supports. But, through this, this awareness, I think oftentimes that recognition comes.
Yes.
So
And
yeah.
through this, it was also another indicator of that additional help that's needed because sometimes, like you said, we're so focused on the physicality. Oh, he's strong. He'll get up. He's
Yeah.
fine. He should get up. Meanwhile, it's like he's only doing it because that's what's been expected of
Yeah.
him or her.
Yeah. We
Right.
don't
But
diagnose, we
yeah.
don't, do anything like that. That's kind of not what, our our platform is. But yeah, we deal with motivation and the things that are blocking an athlete's performance. Like, let's talk about, what that looks like. You know, who do you believe you are when the ball is in your hand, or the hockey stick, or the volleyball, or whatever.
That is
Because
a good question.
yeah,
That
yeah,
is a really good
yeah.
question. Because to me, I see my little child doing it, but who did they believe
Who do they
that
believe
they are? Whether it's somebody they look up to or themselves or what they're
in? Mm,
projecting to be in the
yeah,
future.
yeah.
That is what the kids will say. That's a bar. Okay, I don't know if it's cool. I'm just saying. I'll leave the cool terms out for the cool kids.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Honestly, I'm so grateful that there are, organizations such as yours within our sports world, not just basketball, but the sports, youth sports world itself, because it is something that's needed. And the key point that I'm so appreciative that you're doing is not just talk, but it's actually action, actionable items, tangible items
Mhm.
that allows them to put to use. So rather than just sit down and watch a 45-minute webinar and do a quiz to get 80% and then go about the same routine again, you're actually making it interactive that allows them
Yeah,
to critically think, feel, and be aware of it and take it to the next step, like the stages. So kudos to you and your husband for recognizing that need, that gap, that niche, and doing everything you can to fulfill it. Um, continue going physically into all these spaces and taking up space and being there. I know in the beginning it's probably overwhelming. It's like all these kids are coming. People are wondering, who are you? What is it?
yeah,
You're like, okay,
yeah,
okay, let me get out of my comfort zone. Let me talk to people and all of that. And honestly, keep going because repetition and recognition, and like you said, the track record you have, that word of mouth will keep you growing. And there's more kids out there that you will see. And
so
like I
much.
was saying to you before, I projected to be in the next 5 years, so you have chapters across the country.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, everybody, you have that
Yeah,
blueprint that is being used and adaptable by all because, again, you start from home, but then you grow it and you diversify into different places. And I appreciate that.
yeah,
Um,
thank you.
Another question I wanted to just for you to talk about it is we talk a lot about the conversational part of it, and you talk about, the self affirmation words and things like that. For parents who, we do have to hold our tongue back every now and then. Um, before we approach out to our kids or coaches. So, do you have tools along the way for us as well too? And are these also tangible? Because majority of the time we're on our phone too. So sometimes, do you do like an email check in or a WhatsApp check in or anything along that line that we can also use to be like, oh, before the game, this is what I can do to help myself. Oh, I forgot that paper at home because now I have something digital I can reach. So do you have that type of resources as well too?
Yeah, and I don't know that I want to um I want parents to feel like they're being judged for their actions. I don't know that that's kind of our approach. I would say that, like when you talk about holding the tongue,
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe again, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So it's really just, I think, just assessing again what you want your athlete to experience, how you want your athlete to experience you.
I
What is
like
the experience that you want your athlete to have? So if you are, in the car and you're on the ride home, you're like, make sure you get, make sure you score at least 20 points. What is that athlete's experience going to be? They're already anxious because
Mhm,
now we've added that added pressure,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
So it's really, I honestly, Gifty, I think it's just sometimes common sense.
What did they do? Clock it?
Didn't they do this or something?
I think they do. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It really
common
isn't,
sense.
and just think about how you would experience that. And a lot of parents were athletes. I was an athlete.
Mhm,
And so, and not at the level that my daughters were, but I did it intramurally um, through the community center and so on. So I didn't have that pressure. It was always fun for
fun.
us.
Yes,
But
yes.
I see parents, I witness the conversations, I witness the yelling and right? Like because we see it as motivation. Oh, we're motivating them.
Yeah, but it's kind
But
of
are we?
demotivating. Yeah,
Are we
yeah,
though?
Yeah, are we?
Sorry.
No, no, no.
So there's nothing I can do. I can't give you a checklist to say these words. I don't know that that's kind of my role or our role. I think it's definitely supporting parents and talking about the different states that their athletes go through and what to recognize in their body language and and how to be supportive.
Mhm.
But I don't know that I can say, don't say this or do that.
Yeah.
I don't know that
No,
that would be
that's fair
children.
enough. Yes. And I ask that because I don't want anybody coming to you projecting, feel like you're going to give them like the blueprint to resolve something. Like you said, it's critical and being mindful of it, of yourself, so that coming to you, it's not like Andrea is going to save and solve
Yeah.
everything.
No,
You'll
no.
give them the tools so that we can use it mindfully to make these decisions. And if we follow through what you set out and guide and you provide these feedback, then, slowly progression will happen. And that's why I ask that because most often we want quick responses and quick
Yeah,
answers. And
yeah. We want to
it's,
fix.
yeah, it
We
can't
want to
just be
fix.
fixed. Otherwise, it's just bandages over and over a wound that would just never heal, right? So thank you for being honest on that part because I didn't want to sugarcoat it and be like, oh, if you do this, this is what you're gonna get. No.
No, no, no. And I think too, our parent workshop is also 45 minutes. It's very interactive. Again, they're going to get scenarios,
Hmm.
just like the athlete, but some of those, scenarios can be probably very um, jarring because a
Hmm.
lot of them would probably have experienced those, but we want it to also be realistic. We're taking a lot of this feedback from athletes that I'm doing mindset presence and athletes are approaching me. And one kid said to me, the hardest thing is my parents don't, they're silent
That's also a problem.
on the ride home.
Yeah.
So these are some of the scenarios that I've heard and I've seen and I've
Our body language will
experienced.
indicate like we're not happy or whatever it
Right,
is.
right,
Okay. Okay.
right. So
Yeah.
that workshop is about that come to realization moment.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah,
That
it's not to be punitive or blaming or
I
judging. It's not.
it's good. I
It's
definitely love interactive
yeah,
movements. And like you said, sitting idle, overthinking, you start seeing differently. But when you talk it out, move it, act it out, you remember it more. So that is so
yeah,
true. Um yeah,
yeah.
so our time is winding up and I honestly have
Whoops,
just learned so much already. It's been
keep
amazing.
going.
No, no, but I'm going to give you the time to say anything else that first you need from the Baller Mom community, what you're offering, how people can reach out to you, anything else remaining that I probably didn't ask, but you like, I need to mention this so that people are aware. This is your moment. Go ahead, free for all.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll kind of jump just really quickly on just kind of like a wrap up to give athletes, parents, and coaches to think about something.
Hmm.
So mindset is the way that athletes respond to pressure. So imagine that we have two houses. Uh, the houses look the same. They are impressive, they're strong, they look the same from the outside, but both of them are built on different foundations. House number one is built on sand. At first glance, the house looks strong, no cracks, no problems. Then the wind blows, storm comes up, and the foundation starts to shift because the foundation that it's built on is not strong. House number two is built on solid ground. The wind comes, the rain comes, the house blows, but it stays because the foundation that it's built on is strong. So think of skills as the house, your dribbling, your shooting, your agility, and think of mindset as the foundation. That's the way an athlete responds to pressure, whether they shut down or do they, start blaming themselves. When you prioritize skill over mindset, you're building your house on sand, right?
Oh,
So
when you
that now means
prioritize skill over mindset.
yeah. So when pressure shows up, and pressure could be, a benching or a missed shot or a referee, missed call, that's when you'll see what an athlete's foundation is built on. That's when you'll see. So I just want everybody to think about that analogy of the two houses, coaches, teams, organizations, keep that in mind. What is the foundation that you're building? And that foundation they're going to be able to take with them wherever they go. So from the community, reach out. We have resources on our website. We have an area where they can download free, the cards that I shared with you. They can download those for free.
Okay.
Right now, coaches can use those. I have one for coaches and I have one for parents there. On our website is where they can request mindset observations, because we do that as well for college applications and so on, but workshops, and I do private coaching. So one-on-one coaching with athletes or our coaches, they can reach out as well. We're just so excited to be doing what we're doing. We are a faith-first organization. We know that,
Amen.
my foundation is my faith. And we want to be able to give back to the community in a way that strengthens athletes, builds resilient young people, and create leaders on and off the court.
I
So
love it.
thank you so much
I
for,
love it. I love it.
yeah.
Last question. Just,
Yeah.
it's 2026. We're all like, ready for summer to come.
Yes.
I'm so tired of this weather.
Yes.
It's crazy. What is the one nice thing that you've done for yourself recently?
I went to a spa with some friends.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I went to spa, but I try to kind of prioritize my mindset on a daily basis. So, working out, anything that I can do to make sure, especially with this gloomy weather, a lot of people suffer from winter blues. So I know that I have to kind of stay on top of that. So I would just encourage everyone to, yeah, to make mindfulness a part of their everyday. But yeah, thank you for asking that.
I love
Yeah,
that. I will leave that there. And thank you so much for being part of the
thank
Support
you.
Cheer Unite podcast interview, the Baller Mom community, speaking from your experience and giving back to help those of us who are still in it, and in a tangible way and respectful way too, that we can continue to make sure that what we're called for as parents continues, but also as called for sports parents, we can use that to help our kids on their journey. And I appreciate every single thing that you shared. Definitely, this is just the beginning, honestly. Like I said, 5-year plan. Let's see how far we can go with this. And I want everybody to continue to tag with you guys, connect with you guys, and all the organizers and coaches, please, when I send it to you, reach out to
Yeah.
Lewin Elite for sure. So
Thank
with
you
that being,
so much for what you do. Thank you so much
thank
for having
you.
this platform where, we are trying to work in the community, and you're just such an amazing voice. So thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.